You're watching Force 13's live streaming service. Back to yet another stream on Force 13 Live. This is Hurricane Isaias once again, back to hurricane status now for the second time, with winds of 75 miles per hour and a pressure of 988 millibars according to the National Hurricane Center's update, which just came out before we started streaming. I don't believe any of the warnings have been extended. Some of them have been retracted on the southwestern side of the storm, but still ahead of it. It is likely to produce hurricane impacts now that it has re-strengthened, and some indications, particularly radar, showing that there is quite an abundance of intensification at the moment. We'll see if we can substantiate that in the course of this hour. And to help me do that, I'm joined by my Discord team. My name's Nathan Foy. I'm joined by Alan, Codemo, Elliot, Isaac, Devon, Strat, and Wyatt. Good evening to you all.
Good evening.
Good evening,
everybody.
Good evening.
Yeah, and sorry to bring a brief interruption in, but there is a confirmed tornado warning on the ground for Brunswick County in North Carolina associated with Isaias that just came in right now. So this system is producing life-threatening tornadic activity over land already as well.
Here it is live then. You can see that red zone there. That's where the tornado warning is. So let's try and get a zoom in on that and see if we can go to the latest velocity. So this is the breaking story within the breaking story almost. Well, that's not a good one. So what are we seeing on that? Anyone got any radar?
I can pull some up here, Nathan.
Because that one doesn't work so good.
Yeah. I'll try and see if velocity's up.
Yeah, apparently radar has just confirmed once again the tornado for Brunswick County, North Carolina.
Yeah, and just to clarify, this isn't a radar-indicated rotation tornado warning. This is a radar-confirmed tornado warning. So this isn't just a precautionary warning. There's an actual tornado on the ground there right now, confirmed by radar.
Not that there should be any difference.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And even to, I must note, to the southeast of that radar confirmed rotation there, just south of Bolivia, North Carolina, there appears to be another one that's forming to the southeast of that, pretty much right over Southport, North Carolina, on velocities by the looks of it. So we could potentially have another tornado warning coming out soon, just south of Wilmington.
Gee. So a hectic start here with the tornado warning in effect ahead of Hurricane Isaias. First of all, team, what are your thoughts on it regaining hurricane status?
Well, I think
there's another tornado warning
very,
out.
very lightly.
There's another tornado warning out right now to its west. You can see here now the two tornado warnings that we have in effect here on the screen. Crossing the border there, North and South Carolina, north of Myrtle Beach. That's another tornado warning that's now in effect.
Yeah. So do we have any? We have correlation coefficient for Doppler radar.
I can pull some up right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I would say if you're watching this and you're in either of these tornado warnings, even if it isn't exactly over your location right now or you're expecting it to pass not exactly over, you take cover anyways and take the precautionary shelter that's necessary when under a tornado warning. Any slight deviation could be potentially life-threatening if you're not taking the proper precautions right now. So please stay safe during these kind of warnings.
It's not good.
I do want to point out that down there near, I can't see exactly that location's name. Let me get that out quickly. I'm trying to, near Southport, it appears that there is some feedback coming in from correlation coefficient, a different shade of color, which means that the debris is being lofted into the air. It's, I'm looking at the live stream, it's to the right. There we go. Yeah, right there. And And near Southport and correlation, there is a little bit of a color difference, which means that debris is being lifted into the air from a tornado. So
Yeah, there appears to be two rotations in that warning just to the west of Wilmington there. There's two more rotations. I'm seeing one to the south of Bolivia and New Hope, North Carolina, and then there's another one to the southeast of that, pretty much right over Southport, North Carolina there. And that one appears to have that debris signature on radar. What that means is that radar is indicating that debris are being picked up by this possible tornado here. So if you're in this current warning, please take shelter immediately. You perhaps have a confirmed tornado heading straight for you. On the warning itself, it's radar confirmed still, but just take action as if it's a confirmed tornado down on the ground by spotters.
I do want to say about 1 mile northeast of Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. So I don't think that's really far from where we are looking at this tornado warning at. Trained weather spotter did recently report a rotating wall cloud in the area. So it is producing, it might not be producing a tornado right this very second, but one could be developing. So anybody in the tornado warning, please take shelter.
Is that another one behind that first one as well?
Oh my god.
Probably.
I'm seeing three rotations on radar. One where that we have that the eastern tornado warning. There's one like right in the middle of that central warning, and then to the southeast of that, like I said, right about where Southport is, there appears to be another perhaps tornado on the ground there. And then we got the one to the west of that, just to the west of Landfall, or about to hit. Looks like maybe Prairie Way, North Carolina there as well for that tornado warning. And there was a funnel reported in that one about 15-20 minutes ago. Regardless if we're under any one of these warnings, please take this seriously. There's going to be many multiple spin-ups here. You know, you got to keep in mind with hurricanes like this. The tornadoes that spin up from it, they're not going to last a long time like you would see in the Plains or in Dixie Alley. They're going to be short-lived and strong. So you got to keep that in mind when you're talking about these tornado warnings.
And I'm looking northwest of Myrtle Beach. I think they've missed one there as well.
Yeah, there's just going to be more tornadoes
the National Weather Service is calling the tornado that's currently on the ground it's got the words damaging tornado, so that means it is currently causing possibly a lot of damage. So it's a very dangerous situation.
Yeah, another thing, I was looking at the Oak Island webcam and it has gone down. I can't reach it anymore, so probably there's something going on in there.
Yeah, same with me. The one in Carolina Beach, which is almost exactly directly next to the tornado warning, for me is completely gone down.
No.
And
same for me. Same for me in Oak Island. I just can't find it.
Just so you guys know, I'm getting a gate-to-gate shear reading of just around 65 miles an hour on some of these tornadoes, the one near Southport specifically.
So even if it's not really producing a tornado, strong winds are possible with it. So
yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, that's in part due to the main wind field and convective activity of the system really rotating over to the western half during the overnight hours, and especially today since the end of this morning. You know, there's been very strong thunderstorm activity and convection on the western side of the system, and compared to yesterday and 2 days ago and 3 days ago when we were looking at the southwestern side that was mostly bare of thunderstorm activity as shear was taking part. Now as this is approaching land and interacting with this trough more, it's more the eastern side, which is offshore, more than the western half, of course, that's seeing less activity, which is quite unfortunate, at least for land impacts. It means that before the storms actually over land, but fortunately, at least, it means things will probably clear out quicker on the east side once you're going up the coastline.
It does look like that, yeah.
Yeah, still can't find anything. Apparently, North Myrtle Beach, my friend who is there hasn't seen anything about a tornado. It just seems like there's some strong gusts in that area for him.
From what I saw, there are 4 potential tornadoes that have occurred already.
Yeah, and these are going to be quick spin ups we're talking about here. They're not going to last an hour, half an hour. They're going to be quick. They're going to be there and gone in minutes, maybe even seconds. So just expect it to happen tonight, unfortunately. So as long as you're prepared for this, prepare for the hurricane itself, and then prepare for these tornadoes, you should be fine. There is, I believe, a tornado watch in effect for this area of North Carolina, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Yeah.
I
Yes.
believe so. So expect to see some really quick spin ups here over the next 3 hours here as these outer bands move on in. We saw a similar situation with Hurricane Dorian when it was making landfall on the Outer Banks, where there was multiple quick spin up tornadoes that happened in North Carolina, unfortunately, and couldn't expect nearly the same thing to happen here in terms of tornadic activity. Unfortunately, I'm just seeing on radar. I don't know if you guys are seeing the same thing, but just off the coast of Wilmington here, there's just more and more cells off the coast here that easily could be capable of producing a water spout or a damaging tornado when they reach land.
Wyatt,
Yeah,
go ahead.
Hmm?
Are you there?
Me? I'm sorry.
I thought you wanted me to show you a screen.
Oh, yes. Sorry about that. I am trying to just look at so many different things right now. I'm trying to analyze it. Yeah. I do want to point out it's really small and I can't zoom in. I'm going to circle it for you. That right there, you see all around the area is red, where all of the particles in the air. Yeah, no, all of that red in there. That's just.
Oh, that red. I was talking about the outlines.
Yes. This is the particles of red particles in the air. I'm sorry. And then
There's a new tornado one. I'm sorry.
yeah, where it's red is where it's all the same shape and size and stuff. But in that circle there, you see it gets to where it's like green and yellow. That's where it is like it can be really big right in one area, and then the one next to it's really small. So that means it's likely debris being lifted, and that's a pretty good signature right there that's a pretty good debris signature.
So pretty much a double tornado warning here at this point, because a larger polygon has been drawn above those two that we were watching firstly at the top of this hour. If you have just joined us, these potentially three tornadoes have just formed as the storm Hurricane Isaias is coming ashore. And that is also breaking news, by the way. Not long ago, 10-20 minutes ago, it was upgraded to hurricane status at 75 miles an hour.
And it wasn't necessarily not expected at all. You know, the National Hurricane Center had the hurricane warnings in place for a reason, and they were anticipating that it would likely become a hurricane again later today, as it has, as organization was forecast to increase with the system. Unfortunately, there's a lot more winds on the western side and even the southwestern quadrant that were forecast earlier today to be bare still at landfall. So we're seeing a situation where the wind field might be a bit wider than we were anticipating before, and we're going to get a pass from recon soon. I know Elliot is keeping a very close eye on this within the next 20 minutes or so, again, to ascertain a new pressure fix on the system. The tropical storm force winds really extending significant portions out to the northeast of the center along the coastline. They're definitely starting to push inland as well. So if you're not in a tornado warning zone, that doesn't mean you're not getting tropical storm force sustained winds right now.
Codemo, where's this?
Yeah.
It's currently, I got one in the same location as I had it earlier in Carolina Beach.
So this is it near where the storms are going to impact shortly?
It's actually in the tornado warning right now.
Oh my goodness, okay.
Yeah, and breaking news, another tornado warning has been issued for Oak Island for 8:45 p.m. Eastern time.
I'm going to try getting an Oak Island webcam up right now, actually.
I have tried to get it. It's down.
Oh.
And these storms are moving fast too. They're booking it to the northwest at 50 miles per hour. So they're booking it. So please, if you're out and about in these warnings, please just go to the nearest structure you could go into and take shelter in that till these warnings pass, because they're booking it at 50 miles per hour, unfortunately.
Looks like the one in the western tornado warning there has just capitulated a little bit and took a nosedive to the southwest. Looks like that one's fading away, but the other ones, the ones that we're really watching right now, of course, watch all of them whilst the tornado warnings are in effect, and take cover. But you can see these two on radar have the biggest signatures here.
Yeah. Yeah, right now surf checks is I think everything is down for surf checks.
It's annoying.
I can seem to get any weapons from that.
Yeah, I can't either. So it's annoying. I don't know what happened with that website specifically. Bad
Well,
time for it
To
to
be
fall down.
expected during these events, no doubt.
Yeah.
Yeah, right now showing Myrtle Beach webcam. It still seems kind of calm, kind of overcast as well.
Let's see if we can just
It's
get
from-
that here. Okay.
Yeah, so right now it seems to be kind of calm already for now. It's expected to get
Mhm.
much worse as the storm gets closer. Of course, you can see that it's already like very overcast, but so far it seems kind of calm.
It does fairly, yeah.
Yeah, and that's Myrtle Beach. I think there's about 4 people in the beach. That's something I can see, which could be very dangerous. Something you should do when you're in a hurricane or tropical storm warning is to get as far away from the beach as you can because of the waves and the rip currents.
Isaac, you're
And the
showing us
tide-
some of these waves here as well.
Yes, this is off of the Frying Pan Tower off the coast of North Carolina here on a tower that there's live stream on. This is camera 1. There's another camera above this that I've been trying to get on, but haven't been able to get on my feed here. But these are the waves hitting the camera, and I've just been watching these progressively get higher and higher, and every now and then I get a big wave that slams the camera and makes the entire image blurry for about 10 seconds before another wave hits. It's just insane, some of the wave action I'm seeing here on this camera.
And this is a few
I actually
miles
have
out
no
at sea, isn't it?
Exactly. This is off of Frying Pan Shoals.
This is why you shouldn't be out at sea during a hurricane.
I
Exactly.
actually have the upper camera.
I'm seeing
north
seeing a lot of people on the coastline too. I guess trying to sightsee the waves here, and that's not going to be a good idea, especially if we're going to be going into that water. A lot of people die from rip currents from storms like Isaias we're seeing right now. So please, if you are on the coast, just stay inside, especially with these tornado warnings popping up as well in these outer bands. And they're moving really fast to it over 50 miles per hour to the northwest. So I would highly recommend any of you guys that are in any of the warnings or on the coastline to just stay inside and just wait until this hurricane and these tornado warnings pass.
Alan?
Yeah, I can show the upper camera from the same frying pan. You can see there's an American flag that's that indicates how strong the wind is already in there.
Which, if you remember during our Florence coverage, had a big staple then. That flag's still there.
Yeah.
Remarkable.
Yeah, it seems like so.
Yeah, well, I think it's a new flag compared to the one
It's a
from a
new
couple
one.
of years ago. But
Okay. Well, yeah, because that one got torn.
yeah, but I mean, it really shows how strong the winds are at this particular location, just a couple miles offshore. And to reiterate for people that are potentially watching us along the coastline about the dangers of being on the beach as a hurricane is only a couple miles from landfall. If you're in a location along the Carolina coast that's seeing lighter conditions right now, it's quite likely that those conditions deteriorate quite rapidly as the hurricane makes its final approach to landfall. So you definitely want to make sure that you're not along the coastline when those conditions go down really quickly. You're really putting yourself at risk by doing such things.
And I just want to note something interesting. The recon actually avoided those 2 cells earlier because it looks like they took a less than straight path. And their path would have coincided with those cells, actually.
I'm just trying to make sense here. Is that maybe a third one coming ashore?
I mean, were there water spout watches or warnings on this graphic a little earlier? I wouldn't be surprised if that was the case based on what we're seeing so far. There's a special marine warning out just offshore of where those tornado warnings are around Southport in the Carolinas right now, about a severe thunderstorm capable of producing water spouts located there. And it's actually a special marine warning for water spouts and gusts of 34 knots or greater by a radar indication. So,
And look over here as well. These are more potential water spouts that are currently active. You can see the signature there. Possible water spouts, we're not sure. This one here is, it's just off Carolina Beach there and Wilmington, and there's one further out towards the east, a little bit further out at sea. These are two to watch as well. Those could trigger tornado warnings when they come ashore.
Exactly. It's just going to be a long night, unfortunately, for the people in North Carolina and in the Carolinas in general, due to Hurricane Isaias. I mean, like I said earlier, expect, in terms of tornadic activity, pretty much expect what you guys saw in Dorian to happen tonight here, unfortunately. This is what I'm seeing on radar. Just looking at those trailing storms off the coastline there, they mean business. And like I said, some of them are moving at or over 50 miles per hour here, so you'll have little time to prepare, if any, if we get under warning. So I would highly recommend, if you're out and about right now, to just go indoors and just wait for these warnings to pass over and wait for this hurricane to pass over, as you should be in shelter already, because, this is a hurricane, keep in mind right now.
Yeah.
And you're showing us another view there as well, Isaac, right now?
Yes, this is Myrtle Beach right now. On the boardwalk, there's a few people on the coastline, looks like, trying to sightsee there, which of course people should not be doing, especially when these tornado warnings are around the general area.
There can't be much to see at this point. It's getting dark and it's throwing it down with rain by the looks of things.
Exactly. I mean, you don't want to be, especially if you thought being outside during the day in this hurricane was safe, try going out during that night. It's not going to be safe at all, especially if the power goes out. Say if it goes out right now, during the nighttime here, you're not gonna be able to make your way back. So it's highly recommended you stay indoors for this storm. But yeah, nothing much to really see aside from these sightseers on the coastline here. It was raining pretty heavy earlier, but of course, as you show my camera, things start to subside a little bit here.
And you can see on that camera as well, the visibility is not particularly great. So if you're looking out for those waterspouts and tornadoes, good chance you won't see them, especially when it gets dark.
Yeah, very true. And we're talking a bit about rainfall, on this camera. Do we have the rainfall totals that have occurred so far in some of these locations, Nathan? Because rainfall has been coming along the coastlines of South Carolina and North Carolina for several hours at this point for some locations.
I'll throw it back to... We'll throw it to Alan's camera right now. Tell us about this camera whilst I go grab that info.
Yeah, this is Oak Island, the same camera that was taken down earlier. I think it just came up after the tornado warning after the tornado warning happened. It seems that it's not as windy as it was earlier, about 30 minutes earlier, but it's definitely creating some very big waves. You can see that the waves are already coming sort of inland, so we can actually sort of expect some storm surge for that area as well.
I mean, I don't think we mentioned this necessarily earlier this morning, but it is important to note that the storm surge expectations for the system, the peak surge has been up to 3 to 5 feet between South Santee River and Cape Fear. The prior peak expectations were 2 to 4 feet, and even right now, those 2 to 4 feet of storm surge expectations extend all the way from Folly Beach in South Carolina way up towards the North Carolina-Virginia border. So significant areas expecting 2 to 4 feet of inundation. And we have, Cape Hatteras and some of those island chains. Those can definitely be a more significant risk. So if you're in a particular lying area there, make sure you're taking the proper precautions. And hopefully, if evacuation orders were issued, that you've heeded them as well.
I won't show you the graphic because it looks really ugly, but I can tell you, according to radar, that just to the northwest of Wilmington, the highest rainfall estimate there has just reached 4 inches.
And there's still a lot of the storm yet to happen, so we can expect something probably from 6 to 10 inches for that area.
If you want an update, actually, the Weather Prediction Center has been bouncing a bit back and forth between expectations for rainfall totals up the eastern seaboard, but they're still expecting along the South Carolina-North Carolina border significant land areas of at least another 2 to 4 inches of rain, with some areas still at 4 to 6 inches of additional rainfall forecast for the time being. So, flash flooding along with tornado threats, high winds, storm surge, all a threat with this system as it makes its final approach to land. And speaking of that as well, Nathan, someone's asking how far away it is in terms of time from landfall. I don't know if you're able to map out a potential time frame to that really quickly as well.
We think landfall will be at about midnight Eastern time.
Wow.
So we're really coming in on the final hours right now, and
Yeah.
even potentially minutes at this rate, before we get this storm fully coming ashore. Although it could try to parallel the coastline a little bit and give itself a little bit extra time.
I do want to mention something quickly. I'm looking at surface observations, and there was a sustained wind recently reported in the southern eye wall of 56 miles an hour. So that's the kind of wind, just to give you an idea, those winds are going to be coming onshore eventually. And in the northern and western eye wall, the winds are going to be even stronger than that.
Now, Nathan, I
Just,
have some pretty concerning news regarding the tornadoes.
Okay.
What is it?
There has been quite a pronounced couplet in the tornadoes for the last several frames of radar, actually.
Really? Where? Specifically.
Yeah, this is the latest frame, and you can definitely see the couplet. There are two couplets that I've actually been watching, this one and this one. So the first one's just northwest of Bolivia, and the other one seems to be pretty well to the northeast of Charlotte.
Yeah, these are the ones that we've had our eyes trained on.
Yeah.
But
So-
look at that graphic, your own graphic there, Elliot. Can't you see it? There's the potential for two more to its east.
I just want to give a heads up, really quick. Speaking of the tornadic activity, that we should also expect possibly some major tornadic activity from this storm, not just regular tornadic activity, because the conditions are there to support some possibly damaging tornadoes, and we've seen this already.
Yeah, I mean, speaking of that right now,
breaking
we
news.
just got some news that
Breaking news, tornado warning for Wilmington. Yep,
North
tornado
Carolina.
warning. That's breaking news. I'm going to try to get a webcam from
There
that
it is
area.
right now. That's very
Try getting a
fine.
webcam.
There.
I currently have one of Charlotte Point, which is not currently under a tornado warning, but I think I'll try getting one up right now.
There's your potential tornado, and it's going this way.
I had my eye on that one, because that one looked like it could have been producing a water spout as well. So
Yeah, I have that one up on mine as well, Nathan.
Oh, I have a webcam of Carolina Beach I could get up if it's going to head directly towards it.
Well,
Alright,
just
so
let us
we've
know
got
if you
confirmation that,
show us anything.
We've got confirmation from one of our viewers who's listening to the Brunswick County Sheriff that someone's roof just came out of their house because of the tornado.
Mm-hmm.
So we can see that there's
Whoa.
already some damage happening because of the tornado. This one was from the Brunswick area.
okay. So you said the roof came off their house. The whole. Do you know if it was the whole thing?
Someone's roof came out of their house. The viewer is currently listening to the Brunswick County Sheriff, who's just saying that. So he's actually giving me updates.
That's like EF1 to EF2 damage right there. That's not a good
Yeah.
sign.
Isaac, is this webcam near that tornado warning?
This is in Myrtle Beach, and they're getting some heavy rain.
Okay,
back,
yeah, they're
but,
getting some heavy rain.
I
Yeah,
currently have one
that's-
Carolina Beach up.
Okay, we're just trying to get things as quickly as we can. This is a developing situation. Many tornado warnings are in effect right now. This is the fourth one in the last half hour. So bear with us on this. Over to you, Cobmo.
This is currently a webcam of Carolina Beach, which was put in the area of tornado possibility, and currently the surf is extremely high.
Yes.
Wait one sec, my headphones disconnected.
Yeah, we're looking back at that.
Yeah, and I had a previous one, but that webcam got taken down because of the website falling.
Right.
So this is the best one I have of Carolina Beach right now, and
yeah,
it's just
the
kind of
webcam's back up.
So is that under a tornado warning?
currently, yes, it is.
And there's people there on the beach, like really,
Wow.
Yeah,
who
Isaac
probably don't
reiterated
even know they're in a
earlier.
tornado warning.
I mean,
My
Isaac
goodness.
said it earlier, and it's always important to reiterate. If you're in a tornado warning, please make sure you're inside a sturdy building in the safest location possible in that building. Being outside with no cover in a tornado warning, or just in general when a tropical cyclone is making landfall, near where you are, with the potential to bring water spouts, high winds, flash flooding, storm surge. The exact thing you don't want to be doing to protect yourself and keep yourself safe.
Let's leave this stream going just for a little bit on this webcam and see if does it pan out at any point?
Not that I've noticed so far.
Oh.
But yeah, I'll try getting one that does.
Yeah. Wind is back in the Oak Island area, as you can see from the camera shaking on the webcam. And it also seems like the storm is, my bad. It seems like the sea is coming into land, stronger than earlier before. So we can expect some storm surge from that area.
Well, that's quite clear. Potentially, was it 5 feet that they're expecting, or the uptick?
The latest update has an expected maximum of peak surge between South Santee River and Cape Fear of 3 to 5 feet. Although based on the current trend of the storm with its current strength and potential for continued intensification, wouldn't be surprised if we see some localized higher amounts than that. So especially if you're watching this in that area and are particularly low lying, please make sure that you've already taken the proper precautions to stay safe.
Yeah, now showing Myrtle Beach webcam. Still calm.
And again, just on our imagery here, you can see this potential tornado or water spout becoming a tornado, moving through Carolina Beach, perhaps onto Wilmington, the southern part of Wilmington. We don't know whether this is on the ground or not, but tornado warning in effect, and take cover. What should we go to next?
I think Isaac
there are warnings in place right now, because there are an absolute plethora of them for the people that are watching right now to go over real quick.
Sure.
So
this doesn't include the warnings that are in place in terms of tornado warnings and flash flood advisories and stuff like that. So if you're looking for those as well, make sure to go to the weather.gov website interactive map, and you can zoom in on a county by county level and even locally. But in terms of direct warnings from this system, we have a storm surge warning in effect from Folly Beach, South Carolina to Cape Fear, North Carolina. Also from the Pamlico and Albemarle Sounds, including the New Essay and Pamlico Rivers. Also from Oregon Inlet, North Carolina to the North Carolina-Virginia border. Those are all storm surge warnings. We have a storm surge watch in effect as well from Cape Fear to Oregon Inlet in North Carolina, with a hurricane warning currently in place for South Santee River, South Carolina to Surf City in North Carolina. And the tropical storm warnings currently in place. There's a lot of them. We've seen the graphic. They extend still from South Carolina all the way up to portions of Maine, but for the exact locations, they're from Edisto Beach, South Carolina to South Santee River in South Carolina, north of Surf City, North Carolina to Stonington, Maine, Pamlico and Albemarle Sounds, Chesapeake Bay, Tidal Potomac River, the Delaware Bay, Long Island and the Long Island Sound, Martha's Vineyard, Nantucket, and Block Island. And there's also a tropical storm watch from north of Stonington, Maine, Eastport, Maine. So in essence, we have a tropical storm warning from most of South Carolina all the way up to Maine, about 2/3 the way up the Maine coastline, and a tropical storm watch for the rest of the Maine coastline until the border with Canada, and the hurricane warning in place in portions of South Carolina and North Carolina, where the hurricane's expected to make landfall in the next couple hours.
Back to the radar imagery at this point, and you can see again some of those potential tornadoes that are moving through that part of North Carolina. Several tornado warnings. Some of them have come and gone now, but we still have 2 active.
All right.
I have a webcam of Wilmington right now, so I'm gonna pull it up, but I have one.
Just a heads up. Storm surge is currently impacting car lots in Garden City, South Carolina.
Okay.
Just giving a heads up.
Code Mo, where's this? This is somewhere.
Definitely.
Cadmo, is your mic working?
Yeah, so another breaking news. Southport reporting power losses.
Mm-hmm.
Could you say that again?
Yeah, Southport residents are reporting power losses after a powerful tornado passed through.
Wow. Okay. So. Go ahead.
Yeah, it's in Wilmington right now. There's a battleship that's in Wilmington, and this is where this webcam is above it, across looking into the city of Wilmington itself.
All right. So there's another view. You can see it shaking mildly, and it's just disappeared there. So let's go back to the latest radar imagery. Regrettably, you are struggling to take questions at the moment because of all of this activity that's happening, and you didn't read out all of the warnings in the end, Strat.
Did I cut off? I did go over all the active tropical storm and hurricane related warnings in
Maybe
place
I
right
did
now.
completely miss it. I'm not sure.
Well, to reiterate the generalized locations, and you can pull up the National Hurricane Center's forecast track to get the best description of this. We have a tropical storm warning in place from about south-central South Carolina, extending all the way up to northeastern Maine, with a hurricane warning in place in portions of northern South Carolina and southern North Carolina, close to the expected landfall storm of the hurricane, along with the tropical storm watch from where the tropical storm warning ends in Maine all the way up to the Canada border. So most of the eastern seaboard of the United States right now is under some sort of tropical storm or hurricane warning at this exact time. So, and that's in part because this storm is expected to accelerate very quickly up the eastern seaboard. Right now, this storm is offshore South Carolina in terms of latitude, but by Wednesday morning, this is supposed to be crossing into Canada. So, and that's early Wednesday morning at 2 a.m. as it's shown on that cone. So we're really looking at a situation where the storm's going to accelerate, and tropical storm conditions will likely be felt along large portions of the east coast of the United States within the next 24 to 36 hours. And one of the threats with this moving so quickly, if you take a look at the rainfall forecast as well, that's a lot of rainfall occurring over inland areas potentially in very short time frames. If you go up to portions of the mid-Atlantic, you're looking at the potential for 4 to 6 inches of rainfall occurring within a couple hours at most. When you get rain rates of half an inch to an inch plus an hour, definitely creates a concern for flash flooding. So stay up to date with your local weather office for those. Notably, the rain forecast for precipitation has shifted west a bit, and the actual rainfall totals have become much more limited along portions of New England as since the last update. Now they're expecting 1 to 2 inches of rain for most of Connecticut and all of western Massachusetts, but much less rainfall expected now in Rhode Island, eastern Massachusetts, and parts of coastal New Hampshire and Maine than they were saying earlier today. So if you live in those areas, that's a sigh of relief in terms of potential flash flooding risk.
All right. I also want to mention that I have up the aforementioned storm surge that's occurring in Garden City, South Carolina, posted by...
Oh, an image here.
No, it's a video, actually.
Oh, there we go. So where was this again?
Garden City, South Carolina.
Okay. And this must be very recent then.
Yeah, no, this was like a few minutes ago.
Wow.
About 10 minutes
I'm
ago.
gonna first second.
And this is a car parking lot, so...
Wow. And that's incredible.
Wow.
So there it is,
When
near
it looks
real
like-
time of the storm surge moving in.
Where did you say that was again? I'm sorry.
Garden City, South Carolina. Garden City, South Carolina, if you didn't hear.
Yeah, I got that.
So there we have it. And just to point out again, that potential tornado moving very close to the center of Wilmington by the looks of things here. We don't know whether that's on the ground or anywhere near the ground, just that the radar indicates that there could be a tornado active. If you are in the area, definitely take cover, and when that warning expires in your area, please let us know if there's anything that occurred, if it's safe to do so. Let's see if we can start to take a few questions though. What is the potential impacts for Chester County, Pennsylvania? Anyone at all?
County, before that,
It's a shame Devon's still not in here.
Yeah. Before that, I want to mention that the tornado warning is going to be continuing for Wilmington, Welland, and Myrtle Grove, North Carolina, until 9 p.m. EST. Yeah, they just updated it a little bit.
And if you want the general gist for Chester County as well, that's a suburb just to the west of Philadelphia. They are under tropical storm warning in association with this system. So it is expected that tropical storm conditions will occur there. They're actually in the cone of uncertainty still for the 2 p.m. mark on Tuesday. So the center could technically pass right over that region. But the worst impacts associated with rainfall will be west of the center. So the current forecast calls for 4 to 6 inches of rain in portions of that county. So that raises the risk of flash flooding. So stay up to date with your local weather office for the potential flash flooding as to your exact location, because that's not exactly the most pinpointed down location. It's just the county in general. But risks are definitely there for tropical storm conditions.
Looks like that potential tornado on the left-hand side is loosening up. Still could be there. And the one near Wilmington still quite clear on the radar as well.
And also the indication there, just on this imagery that you have here, of another potential waterspout forming in an area north slightly of Wilmington in terms of latitude as well. So got to keep an eye out on that if that tries to come on shore.
Yeah, there is a little thing there. If you see any of those little grey arrows that pop up, that is potential tornadic activity right there.
Now, Nathan, I do have some recon data for you.
I was about to ask about recon. I'm not sure if I asked you earlier because this is going so quickly, but go ahead.
So a new center pass has come in, and they have found extrapolated pressures down to, I believe, 985 or 986. We'll have to see what the drop zone's find, but it still could very well be intensifying at this point, given that the flight level winds at that point were a good at least 20 knots, I think, on those.
Well,
so
we'll
just have to see at this point.
Yeah, I believe it is intensifying at the moment, looking at the radar and the satellite.
That means, unfortunately, there's a possibility for an intensifying hurricane making landfall, and that's not really a good situation at all.
Never is, yeah.
I will say, interestingly, despite the potential continued intensification, the eastern side of the system continues to break up and lose more convective activity to the east of the center. So
I've noticed that.
Hurricane as it makes its final approach to the Carolinas. And unfortunately for land impacts with the heaviest wind and rainfall, the fact that over the past day or so, most convective activity has shifted to the west of the center compared to yesterday at the east. It means that you're going to have more inland impacts sooner, even though the storm is still over water. When for Florida, we were looking at a situation where, because of the convective activity's location, they were seeing quite minimal impacts.
It doesn't look all that much on satellite imagery, but radar tells you a whole different story. Jimmy says that they got reports of houses damaged in the Southport and Bald Head Island area. Your thoughts?
Some of these were actually in our live comms chat, so I wouldn't be surprised for that at all. And, definitely an unfortunate situation to see unfold. I think Isaac has a webcam up that he wanted to show as well, real quick.
Okay.
So I just want to say something quickly. In Georgetown, South Carolina, a couple minutes ago, a wind gust of 44 miles per hour was reported.
Okay.
And,
oh, wow.
Yeah, that means it's in a pretty hefty band, too, so
Isaac.
Conditions, unfortunately.
This is a downtown Wilmington web camera that pans around every now and then.
I believe we used this webcam during Matthew, actually.
Wow. Yeah, it looks really similar. That's why I was wondering. But this is downtown Wilmington, and I believe Tim is Tim there? Tim, are you there? I see you're muted, but are you able to talk? I guess Tim's not there, but this is a live camera. This is a live camera in downtown Wilmington here. I was wanting to see if Tim had any thoughts, but I guess he doesn't. But so far, not much really to see here. Just rain.
Away.
Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, that live camera you're showing, that is off of the USS Battleship North Carolina. That is off of the US Highway 421, just outside of Wilmington.
Oh, wow. So we both have ones from them.
You see the wind getting up a little bit there.
Yeah, there's webcam for North Middle Beach.
Related to the system. So I don't know if we want to show this real quick because this is an updated graphic, and compared to this morning, you can see the noticeable increase in odds of tropical storm force winds forecasted for significant portions of the East Coast now. Tell me whenever you get it pulled up, and
we've got it.
Synopsis. So, I'll scroll down a little bit just in case the scale's not quite visible. But those purples are 90% plus odds of tropical storm force winds. The anything red is above 70%, and those oranges are above 50%. So right now, compared to this morning, 80% plus odds now in New Jersey, approaching Long Island, and should come into portions of New England overnight. But in almost certainty right now of tropical storm conditions over significant portions of eastern North Carolina into parts of southern Virginia. And we'll really see these conditions spread up much of the eastern seaboard as we go over the next day and a half. So for the person asking about tropical storm force wind percentage odds, this is the current map right now. Don't be surprised to see these purples and reds continue to move north as the system does so. When it gets closer to land areas, the odds of tropical storm force winds get much more certain to forecast. So typically they go up as the storm continues to approach those land areas.
Now, this might be bad. This might be really bad, but apparently the Wilmington Weather Station has reported 80 knot plus winds, and it seems that it's possible that the tornado might have moved straight through town.
There is that possibility from what we've been seeing on the radar imagery.
And Wilmington's one of the most populous cities in North Carolina, so that would be bad.
The population of Wilmington is about 120,000 once you count the metro area and the beachfront areas to the south of it.
We don't know at this point what exactly has happened, but you can see here on the radar imagery that there is a potential tornado signature. It doesn't mean that a tornado was actually on the ground, but it could have been and would have moved extremely close to the center of Wilmington. Tim, you don't know anyone down that way, do you? Oh, he's gone mute again. Tim's left us. I suppose he doesn't.
Yeah.
He probably would have told us if he did.
I have.
Go ahead.
I have webcam. I have webcam for northern Myrtle Beach, which already shows the wind going on, and there's already some waves coming in through the barrier of plants that is between the buildings and the sea. I think it's
for a
froze.
little moment there.
Yeah, there we
it is
go.
again.
So you can see there's the wind. You can see the palms to the right to the right side, already blowing. Moving quite a bit because of the wind, and the actual waves are what I would say about 20 feet more inland than they should be, according to I actually saw this webcam yesterday, and it's already looking like as you can see, there's a wave coming in through the plants.
Mm-hmm.
So that's something. So that's some hints at a storm surge that could possibly happen there.
And again, looking at this area, still very disrupted kind of weather between Wilmington and Surf City. Wouldn't be a surprise to see maybe another tornado warning for that coastal area. Tim, is there anything else? I don't know if you are still there, but obviously we are leaning on you a little bit because you're the only person here in North Carolina. First of all, what you can tell us about this area and also how it's going at your place.
Right now, U.S. headquarters, it is actually dry right now. When I was leaving work, I did come across a little bit of windy conditions, a little bit of rain. We've had a few feeder bands coming in and out of the area through the course of the day as Isaias has been moving its way, obviously closer towards the coastline. This area that we're seeing the warnings
breaking news. A new tornado watch has just been issued for parts of North Carolina until 6 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time.
So a new watch.
Yes.
Try and get it on the screen.
Yes. Includes the cities of Roanoke Rapids, Elizabeth City, Kill, Devil Hills, Plymouth, Rocky Mount, Greenville, Kinston, Newbern, Jacksonville, and Clinton, North Carolina.
So that's to the northeast of the current one on the screen. It's not marked yet on here, so hopefully we can get that marked.
That is northwest of the current one, and that puts that tornado watch literally one county away from U.S. headquarters.
Wow.
I have
So
some.
this is starting to get just a little close for comfort.
Now, Nathan, I have some interesting recon data.
Go
They're
ahead.
finding flight level winds of near 115 knots. I'm not sure if that's reliable, but it's still like I was not expecting to see that. But
Oh, I'm looking at radar data.
Mhm.
95 knots at 5,300 feet.
Yeah, that's still going up, by the way.
Something really wonky is going on with recon here, and I don't know if this is indicative of the potential actual intensity. If this is just a glitch, we're going to have to see what happens because this doesn't actually nearly match up with the SFMR readings. But they were showing flight level winds temporarily of near 120 knots at Category 4 flight level winds. But the SFMR readings there were consistently just to the east of the center at around 75 knots on the latest reading, east of the center of the storm. So not over land, and I don't know if someone can pull up the screen share of that particular pass of the center to show just the uniqueness of this, really.
I have that up, Strat.
It's hard to say how much that is a glitch and how much is reliable because there's 5 consecutive barbs of at least Category 3 flight level winds there, with one reaching Category 4 flight level, and many after that of Category 2 at least. But the SFMRs there closer to 75 knots.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're not seeing things there, Strat. I actually have my dual polarity radar scope up, and just pulling the beam off of Wilmington, this is going up 4,600 feet in the atmosphere. I am seeing some velocities that are pushing 120 miles per hour. So
Yeah.
that 125 knot flight level, which is obviously much higher than where these radar beams are hitting, is pretty telling. I'm actually getting 130 mile per hour of velocities now.
Yeah, they're going sky high.
radar.
We're talking about highest velocities of 90 miles an hour before we went on the air.
Yeah, I want to mention, so apparently, there's a new tornado, and also I want to mention that, yes, I'm also can confirm what, Nathan is saying on stream, but the new tornado warning is, sort of a continuation of the one from earlier that was in Wilmington. It's for Leland, Northwest, Curry, Atkinson, Kelly, and East Arcadia in North Carolina.
And there's that watch illustrated on the screen now as well, so you can see that watch is extended. It includes the whole of the Outer Banks, all the way up to the border with Virginia by the looks of things there, and extending inland quite a way to Rocky Mount and almost to Tim's house.
And it looks like we're going to get some new warnings on that map soon because it looks like we have some new tornado warnings for Bladen, Brunswick, Columbus, New Hanover, and Pender counties for the next about 25 minutes or so right now. So a lot of tornadic threats associated with this system as it continues to come closer to landfall.
I think those were counties that were in the watch.
No, that is the new tornado warning. Some of those areas that you just called out, Strat, are the towns of Leland and Devassa, Sandy Creek, Northwest, Sandyfield, East Arcadia, Kelly, Atkinson. If the warning does keep going, then you start getting to the towns of Ivanhoe and Elizabethtown and up towards Dublin and White Oak. So that's getting precariously close to where I work at. I'm still 30 miles north of that.
Oh yeah, that's headed your way.
Quick update. ATCF has updated for 0Z, and we now have 70 knots on Isaias.
That's
which is 80
not a
miles an
surprise,
hour.
I gotta say.
So they're going with at least 80 miles an hour on this now, but based on that recon data that just came in, probably came in after they did the full file updates, it'd be more supportive potentially of borderline 85 miles an hour sustained, because those SFMRs, even though they're way lower than the flight level readings, we're still around 75 knots. So it's going to be interesting to see what they do. Fortunately, those strongest winds are offshore right now and on the east of the center. So those likely won't be coming exactly on shore with the most of the convective activity, but still very interesting to see the storm ramp up in intensity at the last second.
I would have to agree with that, Strat. And it's really unusual to see flight level winds of this magnitude in a Category 1 storm that's only 80 miles an hour. Like, these are flight level winds that you would be seeing in, like, a high-end Cat 2 to Cat 3 storm.
Here it is on the unenhanced infrared as well, as the day turns into night there at the beginning of that loop. And you can see how curious the storm looks on the satellite imagery, the eastern side looking rather bare. But now it's just, well, to be honest with you, it's a huge band that's blowing up here on the western side, stretching round to the north.
Yeah.
Again, Elliot, I'm sure you can go over this as well real quick, but there is another drop zone that just came in on the data feeds to go over.
All right, I will check that out.
Let's get to some more webcams. We're going with Isaac's stream at the moment.
Just a heads up, there was a small CC drop right by Welland, a little to the east, I think to the northeast of northwest.
I took it about that one to kind of the northeast of Mako, North Carolina there, because I'm seeing a little bit of perhaps something trying to get going there on CC drops for that tornado warning to the north of Wilmington there.
Yeah, that's what I was talking. Yeah.
Yeah, there's a little bit of a perhaps maybe a CC drop I see trying to get going there. Hopefully that that weakens. But like I said earlier, expect storms, cells like this to appear and disappear as fast as they appear here. With an event like this, we saw this with Dorian, and probably going to see a similar situation with this storm, unfortunately, here as it nears landfall. So like I said earlier, please, if you're in one of these warnings, take them seriously. They're, for the most part, they're moving pretty fast. This one, that's tornado warned at this point in time, is moving to the northwest at 50 miles per hour, so it's moving pretty fast. So for one of the warnings, please go to a shelter if you haven't already, or just stay indoors. You should be staying indoors regardless, because it's a category strengthening. Looks like a strengthening Category 1 hurricane heading for you guys as well. So this threat is not entirely over here.
Wow.
Certainly not just looks like it's getting started right now, honestly.
Yep.
Yeah, the drop zone definitely confirms that those flight level winds were no joke. When they released it, it looks like they had 100 knots on that reading, which is equivalent to low-end Category 3 on the Saffir-Simpson scale. By the time it reached the surface, it was down 61 knots, but very impressive flight level winds regardless.
Let's go back with more imagery here from Isaac. We keep running around on the webcams right now. There's another view. Once again, it's a lot of spray there in the air.
And some winds on the left there, the gusty winds on that pier. I just want to note quickly on this camera, the camera's flickered about twice on this camera about the past 15 minutes that I've been watching it. So I'm expecting at any minute the power to perhaps go out on this camera. So enjoy the last views of this pier while you can, because the power's been flickering a lot in the past 15 minutes, like I said, that I've been monitoring this webcam.
Tim, are you still with us?
I am.
How do we want to play things at this point? Because we're only doing an allotted hour, and I'm not sure whether you want to, whether we want to hand over to you at this point.
I just had gotten settled in. I would probably need a few minutes before we do a handover.
Okay, just let us know.
Yep, I can get set up.
So, just to reiterate the watches and warnings that are currently in effect, we do have... Oh, I didn't know that camera moved.
It's moving.
We have a storm surge warning from Folly Beach to Cape Fear. Pamlico and Albemarle Sounds, including the Neuse and Pamlico rivers, and Oregon Inlet to the North Carolina-Virginia border. A storm surge watch for Cape Fear to Oregon Inlet. A hurricane warning from South Santee River to Surf City, North Carolina.
Nathan, I'm sorry. NHC has just upgraded this to 85 miles an hour sustained winds right now, based on the pressure we just got. So they are taking this to 85 miles an hour sustained winds with a minimum pressure of still 988 millibars right now.
Wow.
Wow, that's a bit of a jump in 2 hours.
Up to 85 miles an hour, and I'm honestly really not surprised at all when you look at the radar on this.
That reminds me, somebody a few minutes ago asked if it was rapidly intensifying. Do you think it's undergoing rapid intensification right now, Nathan?
Somewhat.
Somewhat.
It's certainly intensifying, I guess, when, to someone who's on the coastline of North Carolina, yeah, it's definitely rapid.
Mm-hmm.
But the good thing is, once it once it gets onto land, it's gonna take that rapid intensification off the table. So.
And how fast was the hurricane moving at the previous advisory? Because it's moving at 18 miles per hour to north-northeast in this latest one.
Before.
So, yep, it's speeding up now.
Some acceleration going on as well, and that's to be expected as it really gets picked up by this trough. I think one of the main issues we're going to see, though, with this is that if it gets a bit stronger than 85 miles an hour even before landfall, which can't be ruled out right now, is you're going to see a situation where because of the baroclinic forcing that it's going to have, that will allow it to live unusually long over land, you're going to see a situation where stronger winds, potentially, a wider zone of 50 knot sustained winds, can go further up the eastern coast than we were expecting prior when this was a 70-mile-an-hour tropical storm. So something to keep an eye on in that regard.
We're looking at the radar once again here of the potential tornadoes that are ongoing in North Carolina. The floor's open for anyone else at this point.
Yeah, I mean, exactly like I was saying earlier in the stream, just expect to see quick spin-up tornadoes for this particular event. They're not gonna last as long as you see the tornadoes last in Dixie Alley or in Tornado Alley. They're gonna be quick, and they're gonna spin up really fast, and they're gonna, just as fast as they spin up, they're gonna decrease in speed and weaken and be gone by that time. So expect quick spin-up tornadoes here and water spouts throughout the night. Like I said, pretty much a similar situation in terms of tornadoes, probably like you guys have seen with the Hurricane Dorian. Dorian, I know, produced a few destructive tornadoes when it was making landfall on the Outer Banks. So expect a similar situation in terms of tornadic activity overnight with this storm. So like I said earlier, as long as you're in your shelter, you're safe, you're away from the water, away from the winds, you have all your supplies ready for you, you should have prepared for it. You had multiple days in advance.
Struggling with signal there.
For this, you just gotta wait for it to pass. Oh, you just gotta wait for this hurricane.
Oh, we got it back.
To pass is what I was saying. Oh,
we briefly lost your signal there. You became rather robotic, and then it caught up. But I think we got the gist of what you were saying there.
Yeah, I was just saying, just stay safe. You had multiple days to prepare for this hurricane, and now it's on your doorstep. So just stay indoors till this passes. And unfortunately, this is moving quickly away from the Carolinas. It's moving faster in the latest advisory, 2 miles per hour faster than the previous one. So we're gonna get through it. I went through Hannah. You're gonna get through this. And just stay safe and stay indoors. Don't be out and about sightseeing, especially now that it's nighttime there.
There's one positive thing about the storm, is it's not as strong as Hannah yet.
Well, it's moving faster than Hannah was. Hannah was like moving 7 miles per hour towards land. This is moving almost double that pretty much at this point.
In fact, Hannah stalled. Hannah moved at about 2 miles an hour when it was about to make landfall.
I thought it was about 4 miles per hour. I don't think it stalled.
And the potential
no, it didn't stall.
Right now, with this system is that those drop zones, and Elliot can talk about this as well, they were more northeasterly of each other than north-northeast. So it's trying to parallel the coast right now a bit more than you've just assumed from seeing a north-northeast direction update for the National Hurricane Center. So if that's the case, then this thing's really trying to squeeze out as much time as it has left over the warm waters of the Gulf Stream. And unfortunately, because it's moving quite quickly, the fact that those are shallower waters aren't going to inhibit the same way as if it were moving more slowly. So keep an eye out for potential further slight intensification as this nears its final step to landfall.
Getting radar indications now of up to, what's that, 113 at height. What was it earlier?
Flight level winds I know for a fact were like 115 knots plus, which is kind of nuts.
But what was it on radar? I think 113 there, that's the highest I've seen so far. 116 actually.
Wow, no joke.
That's not surface winds, that's up in the air a little bit. But it's not that far from the radar source, honestly. So this storm is really intensifying and it's becoming quite clear. Not quite sure how when you look at the satellite imagery.
Yeah, the baroclinic forcing is actually really helping it out here. The interaction with the jet is sort of just pushing it northeastward, and it's going to accelerate it, and that's how it's going to survive far inland enough to cause some pretty significant wind damage. Like, the baroclinic forcing is going to make it only slowly weaken, and just that jet is going to just ruin quite a few people's days, if I'm being honest.
All right.
I mean, notably with the current movement now, too, from the pickup from the jet, it's looking increasingly unlikely that this will make landfall in South Carolina. It's more likely now, just based on the current trend, if it holds, that you'll see a landfall somewhere in southern North Carolina. But hurricane impacts are likely occurring onshore in both locations regardless, so don't really heed too much attention to the exact landfall location if you're in Myrtle Beach or Wilmington right now. You're still going to likely get hurricane impacts regardless.
For the time being, at least, we're down to just the one tornado warning, and that is the one that we've been tracking for a while that possibly went through Wilmington, is heading for Fayetteville slowly but surely. Don't worry, Tim, it's not halfway there yet, so we'll keep watching that one. Let's go back to Isaac's screen. Is this the same place? Have you changed the camera? Well, whatever it is, the rain is horizontal by the looks of things there.
Seems like so.
Definitely don't want to be there right now, to say the least. So, again, this is kind of a way to reiterate, these people that we saw just a little over an hour ago chilling at beaches as this hurricane is very close to landfall at those locations. This is why you don't want to do that, because conditions can deteriorate very rapidly, and then you're obviously stuck in a potentially life-threatening situation that you really don't want to be in. So, again, for people here that are watching this further up the coast right now, that might be getting some storm activity tomorrow from Isaias, and just people in general that may get impacted by tropical storms or hurricanes in the future. This is one of the reasons you really don't want to be out at the shore during a close approach due to how quickly those conditions can deteriorate and become life-threatening to you.
Yeah, not great right now looking at that imagery. We'll keep that running for a little bit. Should we see if there's any questions? Start your message with Force 13 all in text. Can't guarantee we'll get through all or even any questions because there's so much news. Go ahead.
Yeah, before we get into any questions, I want to just point out that the tornado warning that was in North Carolina just got continued. It's still 9:15, but they narrowed down the area.
Yeah, we saw that not long ago.
Yeah.
Someone's asking about Newfoundland and Labrador, asking if this will be something similar to Dorian for impacts there. Fortunately for you, at least, the bulk of convective activity and thunderstorm activity is going to stay on the western side of the storm as it goes up the coastline. And the latest National Hurricane Center cone has the center of the storm passing well west of those locations. So you may get some more blustery winds and higher wind gusts. But you won't be seeing any significant rainfall from Isaias unless something absolutely drastic and unexpected happens in relation to the storm. And winds in general should be relatively light by that point as well. By the time this thing crosses to that latitude, it's forecast to be a tropical depression and merging with the trough that's taking it up to the north-northeast pretty quickly right now.
Yeah, so this is Oak Island still at this point.
Yes, many people are asking about a Category 2 at landfall. Do you see that happening?
At this rate?
Yeah, at this rate it could happen. Of course, we still don't know yet, but things are indicating that it will.
It's been intensifying faster than expected at all. I mean, some models were just saying it was going to be a tropical storm, and then started intensifying, and now to this stage, and it looks like it's continuing and not stopping at this point.
I mean, a lot of it's going to be dependent on where exactly it comes on shore. If it keeps up this slight, more northeasterly jog, or if it continues a more north-northeast direction. If it stays northeast, it's going to have maybe a little bit more time over water and very warm sea surface temperatures and baroclinic features that are helping this maintain intensity and get stronger right now. So you can't rule it out, unfortunately, if it keeps up a more northeasterly path. But if it continues the more north-northeast motion or wobbles a little bit to the west, then you're going to see it move over land a bit sooner, and that would make it less likely to see such an event occur.
But I don't think that's going to happen.
Yeah.
So, quite a remarkable situation right now with Hurricane Isaias intensifying, and if you've just joined us, been away for a while, it got upgraded to hurricane status at long last at 8 p.m. and am I right in that? Yep. And at 9 p.m. they upgraded it further to 85 miles per hour. So up from 70 miles per hour just 2 hours ago to 85 at this point.
Yeah, so rapid changes that we're seeing unfolding right now with this system during its final approach to land. A couple of questions coming in. Someone's saying that they're not really used to hurricanes in the location New Jersey. They're asking if they need to board windows for tropical storm force winds. To answer that bluntly, it's really going to depend on your exact location and, the actual structure of the building, the types of windows that you have. So, you still have some time overnight really to finish preparations, but they should really be rushed to completion. Typically, tropical storm force winds aren't too damaging to buildings themselves. Most buildings that have been built within the past 50 years or so can handle those. But do be wary of some debris outside if you haven't tied things down properly. And a question for Litchfield, Connecticut as well, that county, which is actually about due north from my location, actually south of that. Fortunately, for significant portions of New England, the rain forecast has been down significantly. We're looking at 2 to 4 inches for almost the whole state, with swaths of potentially 4 to 6 inches this morning. That's been down to 1 to 2 inches for most of the state, which parts of northwestern Connecticut, so that would be Litchfield County, having the odds of getting 2 to 4 inches of rain. So it really depends on your exact location there. It is a larger county, so stay up to date with your local officials for the latest regarding that, your exact location. So flash flooding is a bit of a risk there. Tropical storm force winds are likely based on the current path as well for that location.
Enormous areas of tropical storm warnings, and you can see the little red zone there, that's the hurricane warning, and the tiny little bit of yellow up in eastern Maine, that's the small tropical storm watch that extends all the way up to Eastport up there. And this could still be a tropical cyclone by the time it reaches the Canadian border.
I mean, it'd be kind of absurd, but we've seen crazier things happen before, to be
Yes.
honest. Especially if it's moving that quickly with baroclinic forcing, allowing it to keep a tight center of circulation despite being over land and away from water for about a day and a half at that point.
Yeah, I mean, the storm has, throughout its entire lifespan, completely confused us in some ways. So I feel like it can happen again.
Yes. So just a heads up, there is. Wait. Never mind. Actually, scrap what I was gonna say.
Yes. So Jackson Mozingo is asking how much. What's the most possible intensification that can have?
Sorry, what was that?
Well, I didn't quite understand the question, but I think he means what's the highest it could possibly get? How much winds? What's the highest it could get right now?
Well, some models, the ECMWF wanted 979 millibar landfall. Other models have seen go down to the mid 970s, so you're talking high-end category 1 at least there. I would say borderline category 2 is the highest it could get. I'd be pretty shocked though if it did get to 100 miles an hour, but 90 miles an hour might seem more likely than not. Something that I did see on some of the mesoscale models though is that it did call for this rapid deepening right now that we appear to be seeing, but it does weaken a little bit again before landfall, and we expect landfall to be at about midnight Eastern time. So that's a good what's that? Just less than 3 hours before we think it's going to make landfall. you could see the peak happen in the next hour and then maybe weaken 5 or 10 miles an hour again by landfall. Might be a bit hopeful, but that's what some of the mesoscale models were suggesting.
Now, we can't guarantee that because we've also seen storms intensify rapidly right before landfall too, so it could go either way.
Yeah, a lot of it again is really going to depend on where it makes landfall exactly.
Well, it's going to be a hurricane landfall, though. I think that's for certain.
Absolutely at this point, but
100%.
if you're looking for this to get stronger, just from a standpoint of odds of it getting to 90 or 100 before landfall, you'd want it to continue moving northeast as it has been between the latest two drop zones and not maintain its more northeasterly path that it's been taking over most of the day and is still the 6-hour trend. So that's what you'd want to see if you want it to get a little bit stronger before landfall. Obviously, it'll weaken over land, even if aeroclinic forcing will keep it weakening at a slower pace than you would expect otherwise for a tropical cyclone that will be over land.
I think the tornado warnings are gone now.
Yeah. At the moment.
So that's a little sigh of relief, maybe. There were no active tornado warnings now in place. But so let's go to the normal, the reflectivity radar again. Just take a little look at how this is going. Well, look at that imagery here. That's interesting. This imagery is over the course of not even an hour. That's about 40 minutes, and that is really moving, because at this rate, that movement extrapolates. You're looking at a landfall. I forgot what the area is called down there. Well, there's Long Beach. That's where the Frying Pan Shoals are, isn't it? Nearest the storm?
Would be near that. I mean, it really is starting to pick up its pace.
But what I'm saying, it looks like it's going to be landfall in the next hour, looking at this.
Wouldn't be surprising, really, because within 1 hour, the 6-hour average speed accelerated from 16 miles an hour to 18. So, and it was at 13 earlier today. And, as we've been talking about, it's only supposed to accelerate further in forward motion as this trough yoinks it up really quickly to the north-northeast. Especially once this gets inland, it could be moving as quickly as the upper 30s in miles per hour and potentially even a bit faster than that while it tries to move through the northeastern United States.
So that's both good and bad news here, because if it's really getting going, that means the ordeal will be over more quickly, and it will have a little less time to intensify. But it also means that it is coming in right now, and it could pack a little bit more wind speeds, especially in the strongest quadrants, considering that the forward motion is picking up, because you've got to factor that into a storm's intensity as well.
Yeah, I've got a question from Leva Command. He says he's in DC. Should he be worried about hurricane force gusts?
Well, here's just one other thing as well. The quicker it's moving inland, the more likely you'll get stronger winds inland as well, just to point that one out. This probably isn't going to decay that quickly when it moves inland, because it's still not too far from the sea, and it will get close to the sea again, another rendezvous over the Chesapeake Bay, and not far from the Delmarva Peninsula coastline, the New Jersey onwards. So it could have chances for further, not development, but a slowdown in the weakening process.
Well, if anything, at least, though, there's some good news to deliver for someone, at least. They're asking about Hilton Head, which is down towards Savannah in Georgia, well south of Charleston. They're saying they have a kid there. Fortunately, right now, at least, if we can take a wide shot at the satellite imagery, the storm is pretty well north of there. There could still be some outer bands that lap at the area, but the storm is mostly past there. And I'm pretty sure, just based on the exact location, tropical storm warnings have already been discontinued for that location as well. So that area is fortunately in the clear.
Gotta say, it doesn't look great on satellite imagery.
It definitely doesn't.
Despite that, the radar indicates that this is getting stronger at a fair rate. Back to that webcam imagery once again with Isaac. Not sure if you've got any thoughts about what you've been seeing, but the power's still on. I'm not sure if he's there right now.
saying that that's in Oak Island, North Carolina as well.
Yeah, we spoke about that earlier.
Definitely inclement conditions there, to say the least.
Let's see if we've got some more questions then. If the winds are 85 miles an hour and it's moving at 15, then wouldn't the forward winds be 100 miles an hour? That's a good point. I assume that they're getting... Well, is that right, or is it that they're getting 70 mile an hour winds and it's moving 15 and make it 85?
I mean, Recon is around 70 to 75 knots, just below 75 knots at the last SFMR reading, so probably a bit towards the former, and we're at an 85 mile an hour hurricane right now. Although the next hourly update, if the trends continue and they get another pass, there is always the chance that they try to up this further if the intensification continues.
Jimmy reports that the Spring Maid Pier in Myrtle Beach has measured a storm surge of 10 feet.
Wow. It's expected for a storm like this.
Well, NEC didn't expect it with an estimate of 5 feet so far.
Well, that's true, but I mean, that's very interesting.
How much rainfall is expected in Davidson County, North Carolina? Anyone got that?
Let me get that real quick. That's going to be due north of Charlotte, just about that county. So a suburban county of Charlotte, North Carolina. That's a bit more inland. Fortunately, they might not get too much rainfall from this at all, other than some potential squalls and outer bands. But stay up to date with your local weather office to see what they're saying exactly for that location, because you did name out a county rather than a specific town. So stay up to date with that to get the latest information.
How many inches of rain are expected in Fayetteville? Could that amount isolate up to 20 plus inches? Tim, any thoughts? Is he there?
I don't think so, but 20 inches.
We wanted Tim. He's in Fayetteville. There you
Yeah,
are.
I am. I'm still setting up the U.S. headquarters studio, but
sorry to bug you.
20 inches is
very unlikely.
Casting. 4 to 6, maybe 6 to 8 at the extreme end is probably what we're going to be expecting.
Okay.
Yeah, and now, well, according to webcams in North Myrtle Beach, the waves are already coming into land. There are a few people in the pier. They're actually coming back. There's a few people in the pier in an area that's about to get slammed by storm surge, I would say, which is very well. There's just one person, but waves are already coming inland.
Where's this again?
This is northern Myrtle Beach, near the border between North Carolina and South Carolina. And as you can see by those waves, it's already coming in, and it's coming in strong.
Is Surfside Beach, South Carolina, in the clear?
Surf City. What was that name? Surf City in North Carolina.
Surfside Beach in South Carolina. There.
Surfside Beach in South Carolina. I mean, that's just south of Myrtle Beach right now in terms of location. So you're definitely getting some strong potential rainfall there right now. So I would not say that at all. You are at least under a tropical storm warning. You might be under a hurricane warning as well if you're close enough to Myrtle Beach. So check your local weather office for that.
As though the storm has just made its closest pass to Myrtle Beach there on the radar. So things are about as bad as they can be at the moment there, and hopefully start to get better in about an hour or so.
Well, I just saw someone ask about what the impacts would be for Warsaw, North Carolina.
Where's that?
Warsaw's gonna be about the same. That is east southeast of the Fayetteville area, and they're probably getting hammered with some of those heavier bands right now.
Yeah. And waves are already coming inland in this webcam I have. Well, you can see where exactly the beach ends, and right now the waves are over there. I'm sorry. Seems like the beach is already being claimed by the waves right now.
Yeah, look at that.
Yeah.
When we get to these parts of a storm, we do all the forecasting days and days ahead whenever we can when these storms come to town. But when it's in the landfall phase. We are just as much observers as anyone else watching right now. But if you've got any observations or any news that you can bring to us live on the air, what's that looking at? Oh, it's looking straight down, is it? Live on the air, you can send us a message and we'll relay it.
Someone actually tagged us on Twitter with a report for potential storm surge inundation occurring. We got, I don't know if you can actually pull it up exactly, but this is from New Hanover County, North Carolina. Surges as of 8:36 p.m. reaching 7.12 feet during high tide there, and at 8:18 p.m. Eastern Time in at Springmaid Pier, inundation closer to 9.89 feet. So significant storm surge in association with this storm as that wind fields tried to really ramp up on the eastern side the last second before landfall. I will say, and this isn't comparing the two storms at all in terms of actual overall impacts and stuff, in terms of tracking, the storm tried to come into the East Coast and strengthen mostly due to baroclinic forcing while trying to even deteriorate on satellite appearance at the same time. I haven't really seen anything particularly like this as a hurricane strength storm, at least since Sandy. So it is very interesting to watch this occurrence happen at this time of year, really, because we're in early August right now.
I know.
That scares me for September, October period, when the most active part is. That's when the worst of the hurricanes typically are. And if we're having, if you really think about it, this thing has fought sheer and dry air really well. It's crazy.
It's beaten the odds on multiple occasions.
I will say, to be fair to it right now, at least, some of that shear occurring from that jet, that's coming in is probably one of the reasons that we're seeing some potential enhancement right now with the baroclinic forces that are coming in with this system. You see this on infrared imagery especially, and you would not expect this system to be a strengthening mid-tier Category 1 hurricane. This is actually tied for the strongest maximum wind speeds the storm's ever had to date. By far the highest flight level winds it's had. If it gets any stronger, it actually has its peak intensity right now. So, very interesting to see unfold.
Looking back at the radar imagery, if you're wondering where the center is exactly, let's see if we can try and extrapolate that. So you've got the spiral coming in there, that's the eastern side of the eye wall. You draw it in there, you got the center somewhere around there. So that is, I'm trying to figure out where exactly in relation to Myrtle Beach that is, but it's making its closest pass at this point, and I'll see if I can get a mileage estimate in just a moment.
All right, Nathan, while you're doing that, we are now simulcasting on not only Force 13, but Force 13 US now.
Which is great, because that's where this stream is going pretty soon.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
So we've got because things are getting pretty late over here at Force 13 HQ, so our US team will be taking over, and the link for that is just simply youtube.com/Force13US/live, is that right?
Yes, it is.
So we'll be heading there shortly. We're just gonna get a few more specifics here, and back to that webcam imagery for the time being. And I was just in the process of finding out the mileage from land. Just bear with me a little bit longer on that one. Any other questions in the meantime?
I don't really see any in chat.
Yeah, if you got any questions as we are about to hand this off, start the message with Force 13 in text or at Force 13. Lights up the message in a nice bright orange, makes it really easy for us to answer those. As we get ready
color codes.
Channel right now. Hey, it lights up in a nice bright color, makes it easy to see.
No,
Nathan.
I need them too, really.
It's a nice orange color, yeah.
All right, well, we do have one question that's coming off the Force 13 US side. Someone's asking, could a sting jet be forming? So I'm not entirely sure what they're asking about that.
Oh, yes. It is.
You were discussing that before, I think, somewhere.
I would say yes, it is definitely being influenced by the sting jet. And basically, so what a sting jet is it... Let me get a version really quick, because I'm also into this term.
too, but a sting jet is it's a rare phenomenon that usually occurs mostly in extratropical cyclones or like it's influenced by extratropical cyclones. But what it is it's some like the parcels in the wind. I'm not good at explaining scientific terms. They these parcels. Let me. Sorry. Someone else actually did the definition for me. I'm struggling with it. Yeah.
Alright.
I don't know what you're saying anymore, Euxinator. What's going on?
Yeah. I tried explaining what a sting jet is because it's a new term for me too. But
Isaac, go ahead.
Oh, I just got back here. Surprised the live camera on my screen is still going. But Kay was mentioning in the discussion room earlier that what a steam jet feature, pretty much what it is it could deliver sustained surface winds of over 100 miles per hour for a short period of time. And he's saying that very high winds and associated dying air are akin to a steam jet feature in an extratropical cyclone, and that's kind of what's happening with this storm. You could probably explain it a lot fuller if he was on the call. I don't know if he's on the call. No, he's not on the call. But pretty much he was saying that the steam jet feature is what's being able to make Hurricane Isaias strengthen a little bit here, and it's a rare feature from what I'm understanding, and it's currently affecting the storm. So that's why we're seeing those high flight level winds on that last recon pass. And I don't know if it'll be seen again on the next pass they do in the storm.
Well, I can tell
it'll be
you,
interesting to see.
I can tell you one thing very interesting right now is that this storm has moved 24 miles in 35 minutes.
Wow.
Yeah, it's booking it. It's booking it. It's not going to stay around like Hannah kind of did. It's booking it out of here. So that's good news for North Carolina. Bad news for the East Coast because we got a storm coming up over there now. But that's pretty good news to hear in terms of the Carolinas. It's not going to be a storm that sits around like Florence did in 2018. It's not going to be like that by any means, but still a powerful system nonetheless.
Our best estimate right now is that it's 24 miles from Ocean Isle Beach. That's the latest estimate from land, the closest point of land. That's 36 miles from Myrtle Beach and now slowly getting further away. And it's 49 miles from Wilmington and getting closer, possibly for a direct hit there, maybe. We'll have to see how that's going to go in the next, what might be just a couple hours now, looking at this, which is, I suppose, it's almost par for the course. We're expecting landfall around midnight, and it looks at this stage that it might happen about 10:30, 11.
I want to read out a surface observation I just found. Wrightsville Beach a few minutes ago recently reported a sustained wind of 41 miles per hour, gusting to 47.
All right. Well, breaking news: there is a new tornado warning that was just issued for Roper and Creswell, North Carolina. Till 10 p.m. EST.
Not another.
Oh, this one's a lot more farther northeast.
Way up there.
It's like to the west. It's like to the west of Kill Devil Hills, North Carolina. There. Wow.
And furthermore, on top of that, we could be seeing winds just offshore right now of gusts, not sustained winds, but gusts nearing 100 miles an hour, just offshore Wilmington, North Carolina, and getting up towards Cape Fear as well. So very strong hurricane conditions just offshore and trying to push onshore right now in portions of North Carolina. So please make sure you're indoors and safe and following all the instructions laid out in your hurricane plan and orders from your local officials to stay safe in this very dangerous situation.
Exactly,
Yeah,
and I just wanted to say on this, on Oak Island, I've just been monitoring the camera, and by the looks of it on radar, it looks like they're just about to get into the eye wall here, if not in already.
Really?
So if we thought the winds on the camera right now were bad, it looks like they're right about to get into the eye wall here, and hopefully the camera survives into the eye if the eye goes over Oak Island, since that would be an interesting feature to see there. Go ahead, Euxinator.
That wasn't me.
Oh.
Yeah, it was me. I'm seeing another question from Patrick Remy. What are the odds that the storm moves farther east? I mean, directly strikes southern New England. He said he lives in southeast Connecticut. He's curious of what could happen.
I mean, it would have to deviate well outside the immediate cone of uncertainty to do so. Even if it moves due northeast right now, it's still going to make landfall in North Carolina at that point, really. And if it were to somehow avoid a North Carolina landfall, even, then it would be going significantly further east, so far to deviations that it would probably be much more of a concern for Atlantic Canada than portions of New England at that point. So, quite outlandish to see something like that potentially occur. We're really not going to see something like that.
So this is a pretty bad situation right now.
Yeah, I want to point out, if you look at the radar loop, I mean, that eye wall, northeast eye wall, just organized quick. If you look at the past little bit.
Yeah, it is kind of incredible, frankly.
Went from, like, pretty ragged to organized, like,
Yeah, I really hope this live camera stays on. Just to give an example of why you shouldn't be out in this. If you're even going to go outside, this is pretty much what you're going to be able to see. And this is just a classic a look at why you should not be out and about, especially during the strengthening hurricane. To be a strengthening hurricane here, we're talking about isn't a weakening hurricane, strengthening storm here. And I just hope that that live camera holds out. It's being a trooper right now. Power went out. Well, not power went out, but power flickered about 2 times 20 minutes ago when I last looked at this camera. So let's just hope the power stays on here. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was just going to say, speaking of outages right now, North Carolina is starting to see those reports of increased power outages come in pretty quickly. Now, out of the 4.77 million customers tracked in the state, over 11,900 are out of power now. And that is right now, at least, and these are going to drastically increase as we go over the next 12 hours or so. Near 10% of people in Brunswick County already without service.
All right.
Is that because of the tornadoes?
Not just the tornadoes. Those cause more isolated outages because their area of impact are smaller. But we're seeing hurricane force sustained winds start to come on shore in the Carolinas, along with even tropical storm force winds, heavy rainfall, storm surge. All of those can cause power outages, and we're starting to see those tick up significantly in North Carolina right now. Wouldn't be surprised to see much more significant coastal portions lose power as the storm passes through.
Look at it go right now. Unfortunately, we've got a little bit of an...
I know during... Sorry, Nathan. I know during Dorian, speaking of those power outages, the entire east part of North Carolina, Wilmington, Jacksonville, up through that area, was about 260,000 customers that were out power, and that was just from a Category 2 that grazed the coastline. This is a pretty prominent Category 1 that's going to be going nose first into the North Carolina area. So those outages are definitely going to be going up as the night progresses.
Absolutely. Bit of an awkward moment here because we are now handing over the coverage to Tim's team on the US side of things. I believe, Strat, you've posted a link at the top of this chat directing people to that simulcast.
Yep, so it's going to be the same coverage that's going on here, just at our regional channel, the US channel. It's the pinned comment in the chat, so you can expand that and click on the link. It'll be posted probably a plethora of times in a few seconds as well.
Yes.
So if you want to see new coverage as we head into landfall, go to the US channel to check that stuff out. It's going to be the same things we've been doing here. And also make sure to subscribe to both channels to stay up to date with the latest information of coverage that we're providing.
Yeah, it's just a transfer really, because we're shutting down here now on the main channel and we're handing it over to our US team exclusively on the US channel. Bit of messing about, but once you get there, you'll not have to do that again at least. So anything else you guys like to mention?
Yes, it looks like Recon is heading back into the storm again, like into the northeastern quadrant.
All right, so I'm sure you'll be completely abreast of all of that news. So, Tim, it's time to hand over to you. Go ahead. And good night from me.
All right. Yep. All right, Nathan. And again, thank you to Nathan and his coverage over on Force 13. This is Force 13 US, continuing with our continuing